Hi, this is Jen with BritMums, and we are here on a hangout talking about tips for visiting Cyprus with family. Today, I've got with me Susan Schwartz from Best Bits Worldwide, a luxury travel blog, and she has a long history of going to Cyprus. Susan, first of all, just tell us about your kind of background in going to Cyprus.
Well, I, of course, have been dating a Cypriot for 9 years.
Susan, I can't hear you.
You can't hear me now.
Maybe hit mute and unmute.
Oh boy.
No, go ahead. Go ahead.
Can you hear me now? Yes? Okay, great. I have been dating a Cypriot, a Greek Cypriot, for almost 9 years. And so I have been traveling back and forth to weddings, seeing family, on holiday, really any opportunity we get, because my boyfriend's mother lives there. So we go back and forth a lot. And it's really, for me, been an exploration into a new world, because I had never been to Cyprus before. I wasn't even sure where it was when I met him. And I knew they spoke Greek, so I had that. And it's for 8 years, I've just been learning more and more about a wonderful country.
And you have been all over, that's right? So you mentioned Nicosia, but you've been to Paphos, you've been...
Yes, pretty much all over the south, a bit to the north, but just mostly the south we go to. And yes, I've been all over, really. I've been to the Anasa Hotel, that area. I've been, which is Lachi, which is one of my favorite areas in all of Cyprus, down to Paphos, Nicosia, Limassol, really all around. It's such a small place that it's easy to do a lot of it in one day.
And when we went as a family. We stayed at the Anasa, which is in the north, in the Akamas Peninsula, and then also in Paphos. So let's get to some of your tips, and then I'll tell some of my tips from our experience.
Well, obviously people go there to go to the beach, and but you know, I always think it's sad that people go for 5 days and they never leave the beach, because there's so much wonderful scenery. And you know, some people don't even know that the oldest Neolithic settlements are in Cyprus. And Richard the Lionhearted had a summer house there in Kolosi, and there's an ancient temple in Curio. And again, I did these all in one day the first time I visited. So it's a really easy drive. You can have lunch at little villages. It's a wonderful way to see the interior. And also the Troodos Mountains, which are glorious. And you can go again from one tiny village to the next, and like Omodos, and there's monasteries, just wonderful things to explore. And you know, if you have someone who's a designated driver, there's also all these wonderful wineries, and you can stop and have tastings all along that route. And then you can come back down to Paphos or Limassol, wherever you are, or Lachi, wherever your hotel is on the beach. And you know, I love to end the day in Paphos, because my boyfriend has a house right above there, at the Almira's Usury restaurant, because it's one of the most beautiful spots. The setting is right on the water. Your feet are almost in the water, on the rocks. You're sitting on the rocks. It has amazing Greek and Cypriot food. So that's kind of like my perfect days, going to the mountains, seeing the ruins, coming back, having a delicious meal. I mean, there's nothing better. Who doesn't want to keep going back there 8 years in a row?
Exactly. Well, I have to say, we stayed at the Almira, which is right on the water in Paphos, as you mentioned. And actually, interestingly, one of the Thanos Hotel Group, which owns the Almira, the Anasa, and one other hotel in Paphos, whose name escapes me at this exact moment. The Annabelle. Yes. So actually, my husband went there with his first wife, and we went to the Almira, which is right beside. Very modern, and by that I mean really kind of modernist look, with square edges and these wonderful kind of rooftop terraces on some of the suites you can get. And then, as you say, you walk down some steps from the gorgeous pool. Just walk down a few steps, and you're at the Usury, where if it's sunny, there's a shaded area to sit right next to the building, or you can sit out on the rocks just overlooking. And you really feel part of the kind of bustle on that seafront.
Yeah.
Traditional Cypriot food. And even though, despite this amazing location, it's not incredibly expensive. It's really affordable and fun and great for couples or kids or kind of anyone, just as an open air experience.
Yeah, it's far enough away from the center of Paphos that you feel the resort quality of the Almira, I think. I love it. It looks like, you know, a typical, it's the kind of hotel that I like, that I think of when I go to Cyprus. You know, it's all white and it has the essence that you're on a resort island. But it's far enough away from the hubbub of Paphos that if you don't want to be hanging out with the crowds, you really feel kind of isolated, even though it's in the center of town.
Yes. And so I would say kind of an ideal afternoon is lunch there and then walk down around the seafront. You can stop and get ice cream. There are loads of kind of little cafes there, bars. And then we continued on and went to go see the mosaics. And sometimes it sounds like, oh, the mosaics, I've seen mosaics, I'm sure they're pretty. But really, it was stunning. You're walking on walkways above these incredibly intact and very intricate mosaics, and they have quite good information about the stories around the mosaics too. So you come away informed as well as just kind of awed by their beauty.
I know. I think they're incredible. Again, they're another thing that people don't really think of when they're going to Cyprus. They think beach, and there's all of this wonderful history. The Romans were there. You know, it's a gorgeous place, and especially for classicists, you want to go there. But right in the center of Paphos is where my boyfriend, when he was little, and it used to jump off into the water and swim right there. And you still can do that. And the water is still gorgeous. So you have, you know, the restaurants here and the hubbub of Paphos, but yet you can just jump into the water there. You'll see people there. You can find, and my nephews love looking for the little crabs. So, you know, you see lots of kids looking for crabs. So it's really got the great combo of being kind of a city, not really a city, it's a village, but also having the beach literally right there.
Now let's talk about the Akamas Peninsula and up in the north, I guess kind of northeast of the island. Look, I think we are being joined by Natasha as well. Hi, Natasha.
Hello, how are you?
I'm speaking with Susan, and we are live on air. So Natasha is with the Thanos Hotel group and part of the Thanos family, and knows all about Cyprus. So we were just starting to talk about the Akamas Peninsula and everything that you can do up there. Susan was making the point that it's quite different from just this image of Cyprus and beaches, that you have wonderful, wonderful hiking and scenery. We went on an hour-long hike. We could have done a circular one that took 2 hours. You have gorgeous views of the water. You have some kind of classical sites to go to, like Aphrodite's baths. Natasha, what do you think are some of the kind of top things for families to do when they come to Cyprus?
It depends from the season, of course. If you come in the shoulder months, which is spring and autumn, which is still very warm in Cyprus, you can explore a lot of the island, which has a lot of historical and archaeological sites, beautiful Byzantine churches, very nice villages. Actually, Cyprus is quite hilly. It's not something people expect. Beautiful hills and very picturesque villages. Of course, during the months of July and August, it does get pretty warm, so people do tend to stay more next to the water. But even Akamas, which is a fantastic location, it's a national park right next to the Anasa, during the months of the summer, you can take a small boat and spend a day at the Blue Lagoon. It's where Aphrodite and Adonis used to meet. And it's really beautiful. It's turquoise waters, white sand, and it's very nice for the family to go, and you can organize also fishing during the day with the boat or snorkeling. So there's a lot to do.
I think you make a very good point about there being these stories too, that I think for us as adults and parents, as well as for the children, that's something that really captivates them, that they're these mythical characters that they've heard of through school or stories, that then they go someplace and, oh, supposedly this is where that goddess actually was. This is where that actually happened. And that really adds to a kind of richness of the holiday experience in addition to the kind of beautiful surroundings.
Yes, I mean, we've noticed the change over the years that when families come to the hotels, they want to also offer an experience to the children. They want them to learn something, at the same time have some fun. And we've seen this, that it is happening. And also in our kids clubs, we want to offer this experience. So let's say at Delmira, which is very close to the mosaics of Paphos, which is a very important historical site, they visit the mosaics, but then we ask them to do something in the kids club, what they have seen, to do their own mosaic, or we take them to a nice place in the old part of Paphos to do pottery. So if we don't offer this to the family, they will not leave the children at the kids club. They don't just want them to hang around. They want them to learn something at the same time when they're having fun.
Exactly. Exactly. So, Susan, what are some of your other kind of suggestions for touring around, or particularly, you know, maybe in Akamas or other parts?
Oh, well, I love going to the little tavernas. You know, if you want to venture outside of the Anasa up there, which is very, very difficult because I've been there and it's absolutely wonderful, to venture out to some of the little tavernas and get different views. As she said, getting a boat is so gorgeous from and exploring that area. Really getting in a car and driving. I had said, Natasha, that I had talked about the Neolithic sites and the Troodos Mountains and things like that to do. Even, I know it's a little far, but even going into Nicosia, which is a great capital city, there's an amazing archaeological museum. And a lot of people don't realize, especially Americans, that the Metropolitan Museum of Art was started because of one man's collection of Cypriot art. And it's still there in the Met. And that, again, I did not know this before I dated a Cypriot. And he said, let's go to the Met in New York because it was started with Cyprus artifacts. And so you really realize when you go there the reach that Cyprus has had, especially its art, its antiquities, all over the world. This tiny island, and it's just it's reached everywhere. So I love going to the sites. I mean, and excuse my pronunciation, but there, as I said, the oldest settlement in Europe is in Cyprus at Kyrokitia, which is
very near Nicosia.
And they're so well preserved that I think it would be. I found it fun. I'm sure kids would find it fun, and because I was in Scotland and they said, oh, well, the oldest Neolithic sites are here. And I wanted to say, well, actually, they're in Cyprus. And I've been to them. They're in Cyprus. So I really think those kind of things are fun, as you said, to make your own mosaics, all of that stuff would be great for kids.
And as we know, Paphos is 2017 has been declared the cultural city. Mm-hmm. So there's a lot of things happening in Paphos in the next 2 years. It's interesting. And we will try and incorporate that also within the experience of the hotel. We will be inviting artists, local artists with some contemporary touch, to present their work in the hotel at Delmira. Paphos 2017, yes. And also clients will be able to meet the artists.
Wow, that's something to definitely mark on your calendar. That sounds amazing. I'd like to shift gears slightly and talk a little bit about the kind of natural experience we had when we visited. It was, we loved our hikes. We went on a Jeep tour where we really got to get out and see, and this wasn't necessarily touring archaeological sites, but more just driving over the back roads, seeing the villages, stopping, we stopped for a drink at this cafe that overlooked a beach. It was just craggy and beautiful. But I think one of the highlights for us was the Avakos Gorge, and I'm probably saying that wrong. You have to correct me, Natasha. But
Oh, very nicely.
it's so stunning, and we parked right at the kind of mouth of the gorge and walked up, and so I think that's about an hour and a half walk. Very easy, although you do need waterproof shoes because it gets quite wet. But it was the most stunning kind of cliff edges rising up on either side, water dripping down. We could see goats up there kind of looking down on us. And my daughter was just kind of in awe. But it kind of sneaks up on you because it's not, you don't have to hike for 4 hours to see it. It's very accessible and beautiful and doable. We saw people there with 4 and 5-year-old children doing it. We were there with my daughter's 11. That was fine. We also saw older families, so some people in their kind of 60s and 70s. So really great if you go multi-generational travel. There are things to do there, whether it's taking a Jeep safari or doing a walk, that really kind of get you out and enjoying the natural beauty of the area, because there's a lot of it that's unspoiled.
Yeah, my first time there, I thought it would be much drier, and it's really quite green and lush. It's, even though it can get so dry and so hot during the summers, it's quite a green place, and so there's lots of wonderful trees and places to explore.
What time of the year did you come? Suzanne, what time of the year did you come?
Oh, well, my boyfriend is from Cyprus, so I've been coming now for 8 years, all different times. I've been in I love going at Christmas time too, because all the citrus fruit is in season. So it's all these wonderful citrus fruit trees, grapefruit trees, and lemon trees. They're all in season and they're all in bloom. And you can literally walk down the street and pick off fruit on the street and just take it home and eat it if you don't have any. Beautiful ruby red grapefruits and things like that. So it's all great. I go all different times.
Mm-hmm. So I love springtime. I think it's a beautiful time of the year, because Easter time as well. We have a lot of. Susan must know this is the most important celebration for Cypriots and Greeks. And it's a beautiful time of the year. And also October I like, because it's not too warm and the sea is still very warm from the summer. So I think October, November is beautiful months.
Yes, I've been several times in October, and we've always been able to swim.
Yes. And there's nowhere else in the Mediterranean. I mean, it's the warmest area in the Mediterranean.
So do we have any final thoughts about, we talked about to do the cultural element, the learning element, which Natasha mentioned, because I think that is so important for families these days. Are there any kind of final tips y'all have in terms of, we've got some good seasons when people can go? Are there certain foods they shouldn't miss out on? Is there kind of one kind of experience that's a don't miss for everyone when they go?
Well, I think every first-timer has to do the traditional meze. You just have to do it. It's about 1 billion different things to eat, and there's some wonderful restaurants in Nicosia for that, and Paphos, and you just let them bring you all the food, because it is very different from a meze, say, in Lebanon, or from Lebanese food, or Greek food. It's very different. It's this wonderful combination of both. So you get, you don't get hummus, but you get tahini, you get lots of rose water flavored things. So I think you just got to have one at least once when you go.
Yeah, and Natasha, Susan and I were both saying that one of our favorite places to have that is the Uzuri by Elmira, because it's just beautiful location, great food, you're right there on the water, fabulous.
It's my favorite spot. My boyfriend has a house above Paphos, and I make him take me there, which is not a hardship for him as well, every time we're there, because I love it. I think it's really the best restaurant in Paphos, both the food and the setting and everything.
But I think the important thing is that both Anas and Elmira, it's a great hotel for kids, but also a great hotel for parents. So we were one of the first hoteliers who dare to combine luxury with a family holiday. You don't have to compromise your holiday because you have children. You embrace the family, and you can have luxury, you can have a spa treatment, you can have a nice dinner, and you can have your children as well. And it's a lot of work to make this work, but it's fantastic. It's a fantastic place for parents as well. There's no compromise in quality, in service, in luxury, because you're going on a family holiday. Everybody can have a good time.
Absolutely.
Yes, absolutely. We can certainly do that. All right. Well, thank y'all for joining us. This will be on our YouTube channel and also on the BritMums blog. Please do follow us, as well as follow Susan Schwartz at Best Bits Worldwide and Thanos Hotels, which you can find on Twitter. And thank you so much, Natasha and Susan, for finding time to chat with us and share your insights into Cyprus.
Thank you.
Thank you for having us.
We'll see you next time.
All right. See you in Cyprus.
See you.
Bye.
Bye.